Now on December 8th, we lost one of the most talented and fastest growing rappers that we have ever seen. He obviously goes by the name of Juice WRLD, and his passing is very complicated. His passing is also often shared in a false way, as not a lot of people know the truth behind his passing. So in today's video, I'll be sharing the truth behind Juice WRLD's passing with words from Juice WRLD's friends that were with him on the day that he sadly passed. So the day starts on December 8th in 2019. Juice WRLD, alongside his girlfriend Allie and a few others, were flying in a private jet going to Chicago. Before landing at Chicago's Midway International Airport, Juice WRLD was informed by one of his security guards mid-flight that law enforcement were tracking his flight and awaiting his arrival at the airport. Now, allegedly, the pilot of Juice WRLD's flight gave law enforcement a tip that there was a smell of narcotics on the private jet. This made law enforcement and the FBI surround Chicago's Midway International Airport. They brought a K9 unit. They basically brought everything out for Juice WRLD's arrival. As on Juice WRLD's private jet, he had multiple illegal things on that flight. Starting off, Juice WRLD had 70 pounds of narcotics, all stuffed into suitcases and packed very tightly at the bottom of the jet. He had 2 firearms with high-capacity ammunition magazines, and not to mention he had a bag full of narcotics pills that was allegedly stuffed in his backpack, otherwise known as his carry-on, onto the private jet. So when you add all of those things together, while being told that law enforcement with K9 units and everything is awaiting your arrival at the airport, that's just a recipe for disaster. Now, according to the records, law enforcement believe that during the flight, when Juice WRLD and his team were notified that the FBI was awaiting their arrival, Juice WRLD ingested more and more of the narcotic pills that was in his carry-on. Now, this would be an attempt to hide them from authorities when landing for obvious reasons. Now, the plane was rented in Juice WRLD's name, meaning all of the illegal items on the flight would then be put on him. This is when law enforcement obviously search his plane. Anything really illegal they find, the blame will be on Juice WRLD. Now, we're unsure of the exact amount of time that Juice WRLD would have been locked up in prison for, as yes, he would have been sentenced to a pretty lengthy time in prison. Now, according to many lawyers online that looked into the case, they predicted that a maximum of 20 years in prison for using a private jet to transport 70 pounds of narcotics across the United States, as well as carrying 2 illegal firearms with high-capacity magazines. Now, hearing that information would cause anybody to freak out. When you add all of the narcotics that Juice WRLD took in an attempt to allegedly hide from law enforcement when arriving, it ended up causing Juice WRLD's heart to go into an overdrive mode according to health officials, and it sadly caused the seizure that happened inside of the airport. Now, when it all happened, obviously an ambulance was called. Witnesses claim that Juice WRLD was transported to the emergency care unit, where sadly, that's where Juice WRLD passed. Now, 2 of the rapper's security guards, they were arrested at the scene. This is for the firearms that was being held by them inside of the airport. Then later, Juice WRLD's photographer, who was on the private jet with him, was also arrested and booked, and he was charged with a misdemeanor for firearm violation. Nobody ended up being charged for the 70 pounds of narcotics that were found vacuum sealed in suitcases. Obviously, it could be due to Juice WRLD's passing, but it's strange how nobody took ownership of it or said who it belonged to. Law enforcement believe that Juice WRLD was trying to get less of a charge for when he lands by consuming the narcotics. It does make the most sense, as hiding them the best he can would end up having him get less charges when he gets arrested. It's a true tragedy on what happened. The entire truth behind his passing, as well as his rise to fame, will be getting released in a full documentary releasing in a few days. In this documentary, it will obviously showcase the life of Juice WRLD when his two hit songs All Girls Are the Same and Lucid Dreams was originally released. But this will also give you the important details on the real life of Juice WRLD before his massive burst of fame, and it will showcase his problems that he had with narcotics. Juice WRLD had a real issue with narcotics, and while a lot of people thought that it was nothing too big of a deal, him and his team really knew the truth behind it. But this tends to happen to a lot more music artists than you might think. Now, a perfect example of this is Justin Bieber. Juice WRLD and Justin Bieber just collaborated on a new song titled Wandered to LA. Now, this song actually ended up coming out with a small documentary of its own, just a few days before its release. Bieber even shared his issues with narcotics as well. In that small documentary, it also shared that Juice WRLD had planned on booking himself into an improvement center to help deal with his issues. According to his team, he was already agreed to it, which was already the hard part of it, and right when they were about to sign him up and entering the program, this incident ended up happening. Alongside the Juice WRLD documentary being released, we will also be getting none other than a new Juice WRLD album releasing this weekend at the time of this recording. On this album, we should be seeing features from all of Juice WRLD's very good friends in the industry. Juice WRLD's passing affected the entire music industry. On December 8th in 2019, we saw many rappers tweeting out their condolences of his passing. From Lil Durk saying "Rest in peace Juice, sad day in the world," to many other rappers sharing their thoughts and prayers. But there was one rapper in particular that this hit the most, and this is none other than Ski Mask. Ski Mask became really good friends with Juice WRLD just before his passing. Ski Mask already went through XXXTentacion's passing, and he's been through a lot. He ended up tweeting, "No, he can't be gone. They keep taking my brothers from me." It was very clear that Juice WRLD had a place in everybody's heart in the music industry. Juice WRLD's #1 priority when it came to anything business related was recording pre-recorded songs. It was announced that Juice WRLD has 700 pre-recorded songs all sitting in a music vault. This does mean that Juice WRLD will be having music get released for the next few years. It is important to remember though, we will not be listening to all 700 of those songs. It was made clear by Juice WRLD's family and his girlfriend Allie that there are a selected few songs that will never be heard by anyone except them. But there was the official records of Juice WRLD's passing. If you guys are a fan of Juice WRLD, leave a like on the video and don't forget to subscribe. Anyways, I'm out. Peace.